Have you ever noticed that once you believe something, the whole world seems to agree with you? Every headline matches your opinion. Every conversation feels like proof. Every memory fits perfectly into the story you've already chosen to believe. It feels natural, effortless, and strangely comforting. But underneath that comfort is something subtle, a quiet bias shaping what you see and what you ignore. This is confirmation bias, a mental shortcut that doesn't just color your opinions. It filters your entire reality without asking for permission. Today, we're going to look at how this bias works, why your brain relies on it, and how it can create a version of the world that feels true, even when it isn't. You won't need psychology jargon. Just curiosity, honesty, and the willingness to question the thoughts that feel the most certain. Let's begin. There's a quiet force shaping your thoughts right now. Not your personality, not your upbringing, not your intelligence. Something smaller, simpler, and far more subtle. A hidden filter. A filter that colors what you see, what you remember, what you believe, and even what you think you know. A filter that constantly whispers yes, that fits your worldview while gently pushing aside anything that doesn't. This is confirmation bias, one of the most powerful and invisible psychological habits the human mind has. A habit that doesn't just influence your opinions, it shapes your entire experience of reality. Today, we're going to understand this bias the simplest way possible. No jargon, no technical philosophy, just clear storytelling, real examples, and a tour through how your brain quietly chooses the version of the world that feels most comfortable. Let's begin. What confirmation bias actually is. Imagine you formed an opinion about something, a product, a person, a political idea, a theory, anything. From that moment, your brain begins performing a magic trick. It looks for things that make you feel right, and it ignores things that make you feel wrong. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek, interpret, and remember information that confirms what you already believe. It's not a flaw in your intelligence. It's part of how the brain protects itself from confusion, from uncertainty, and especially from the discomfort of being wrong. Think of it like a mental spotlight. It lights up the ideas that match your beliefs and leaves everything else in the dark. Why the bias exists in the first place. Your brain is incredibly powerful, but it also wants to conserve energy. It doesn't want to reevaluate everything and every time. So instead of examining every piece of information carefully, it takes shortcuts. It prefers the familiar. It prefers the comfortable. It prefers the story that already makes sense. There's also a deeper emotional reason. Being wrong hurts literally. Studies show the brain reacts to disconfirmation like physical pain. So what does it do? It avoids it. It shields itself from contradictions. It chooses the route that keeps your sense of identity stable. And because humans are social creatures, agreeing with your group feels safe. Disagreeing feels risky. Confirmation bias helps you stay aligned with your tribe. It's not rational, it's not logical, but it's deeply human. The 3 ways confirmation bias works. Confirmation bias isn't one single behavior. It works in 3 interconnected layers, like a filter stack over your perception. 1. Selective exposure. You naturally seek information that aligns with what you already believe. If you like a brand, you look for positive reviews. If you dislike a celebrity, you look for scandals. You open doors that agree with you and walk past the ones that don't. 2. Selective interpretation. Even when everyone sees the same data, people interpret it differently. If 2 people watch the same video, one might say, "See, that proves my point." The other says, "That proves the opposite." Same information, different stories. 3. Selective memory. You remember the details that support your beliefs, and you forget the ones that contradict them. Memory becomes a tool not to store the truth, but to support the version of the truth you prefer. These 3 layers create something profound, a personal reality that feels objective, even though it's shaped by your preferences. Real-life examples. You'll recognize immediately. Let's look at examples where confirmation bias shows up in everyday life. You'll probably recognize yourself in at least one of these. Shopping for a product. You've already decided which phone or laptop you want. Now, when you read reviews, your brain highlights the good ones. Every positive detail feels like proof I chose right. If there's a critical review, your brain dismisses it. That person just doesn't know what they're talking about. Politics. Two people watch the same debate. One thinks their candidate won. The other is absolutely certain the opposite happened. What changed? Not the debate, just the filter. Relationships. If you like someone, everything they do feels charming. If you don't like them, the exact same behavior feels annoying. The difference isn't the person, it's the lens. Google symptoms. When you're anxious about your health, you click the results that match your fear. Your brain says, "See, I knew something was wrong, even if 20 other results say it's nothing." Lucky signs and superstitions. If you believe something is a sign, everything becomes a sign. Your brain connects dots that are not connected simply because it expects them to be. Confirmation bias is everywhere. Quiet, constant, comfortable. How confirmation bias skews your reality. When confirmation bias shapes what you see, the world starts to look simpler than it actually is, but also more distorted. You stop seeing disagreement as useful information. You start seeing it as a threat. You stop learning. You stop updating your beliefs. You get trapped inside a mental bubble where everything confirms your worldview. It doesn't just distort your opinions. It distorts your perception of reality itself. You don't experience the world as it is. You experience the world as your brain filters it. And when those filters get strong enough, they can turn into something much more serious: ideological echo chambers, extreme beliefs, misinformation bubbles, and the inability to understand other perspectives. Not because people are irrational, but because they are human. Why confirmation bias is more dangerous today? Confirmation bias has existed for thousands of years. But in the modern world, it has a powerful ally: the internet. Algorithms reward what keeps you clicking, and nothing keeps you clicking more than information that agrees with you. Your feed learns what you like. It learns what you believe. It learns what confirms your worldview. And then it shows you more of that. Less balance, more bias, more certainty, less curiosity. The result is a personalized reality. A world that fits your beliefs perfectly. A world designed to keep you right, even if you're wrong. The brain science behind the bias. Confirmation bias is powered by a simple neurological mechanism. Your brain likes being right, and it hates being challenged. When a piece of information matches your beliefs, your brain rewards you with a small hit of dopamine. It feels good. It feels satisfying. It feels like clarity. But when something contradicts your beliefs, the brain reacts as if it's under threat. It triggers discomfort, tension, cognitive pain. So what does your mind do? It takes the path that feels better. It highlights the comfortable information and shields you from the uncomfortable. Your beliefs become a self-reinforcing loop. How to recognize confirmation bias in yourself. You can spot confirmation bias by paying attention to your reactions. Do you only search for information that agrees with you? Do you avoid information that contradicts your opinion? Do you interpret neutral facts in a way that supports your side? Do you get irritated when someone challenges you? Do you feel certain before you feel informed? These are all signs the filter is active, and the moment you notice it, the illusion begins to crack. How to reduce confirmation bias. You can't eliminate confirmation bias completely, no one can, but you can weaken it. Here are practical ways. 1. Actively seek disconfirming evidence. Ask what would prove me wrong. This is like opening a window in a closed room. 2. Notice your emotional reactions. If something makes you angry instantly, pause. Emotion often reveals bias. 3. Ask what if I'm wrong. Not as a punishment, as a thought experiment. Your brain expands instantly. 4. Read from different perspectives. Expose yourself to multiple viewpoints. It doesn't mean you must accept them, just consider them. 5. Practice intellectual humility. The simple idea that being wrong is not a failure, but a step toward clarity. Confirmation bias thrives on ego. It weakens with humility. Final insight. Confirmation bias isn't just a psychological curiosity. It's the quiet architect of your reality. It bends what you see. It shapes what you believe. It filters your memories, your interpretations, your conversations, your choices. It doesn't just distort your beliefs. It distorts your experience of the world. But the moment you become aware of it, something powerful happens. You start to see the filters. You start to question your certainty. You start to move from reaction to reflection. And slowly, the world becomes clearer. Not because your beliefs are perfect, but because your curiosity becomes stronger than your confidence. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay open, stay thoughtful, and keep questioning the stories your mind tells you. When you understand confirmation bias, something begins to shift. You start to notice the small moments when your brain chooses comfort over clarity. You begin to see how your beliefs shape what you notice, what you remember, and what you dismiss. And suddenly reality feels less like a solid wall and more like a window you can clean. Confirmation bias doesn't make us foolish. It makes us human. But learning to see it, learning to pause before assuming, learning to question the thoughts that feel too easy, that is where real clarity begins. You don't have to distrust your mind. Just understand how it works. And when you do, the world becomes a little wider, a little calmer, and a lot more interesting. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay humble, and keep looking for the truths your mind tries to hide.